Hey everyone, Alicia here. I just wanted to hop on here real quick because I have had some questions and interest shown about what type of financial decisions and preparation I have been doing in advance of my Appalachian Trail through hike next year. So a lot of the questions have been like, how much money do you need to save? How are you saving all that money? What types of things do you need to save for? And I'll go over all of that here with you. I do just want to add a disclaimer that just keep in mind this explanation is all based on my personal experience and my personal comfort level, along with, what my life currently looks like, and what types of bills I currently have at home. So first of all, I do currently own a house. I have a mortgage. I am married. My husband will not be hiking the trail with me. He is staying home and will be working while I'm on the trail and taking care of all of like the maintenance type things around the house. And I have no children. I do have 3 animals, all of whom have medical issues. If you follow me outside of YouTube, you know that. And I don't have much debt. So I have no student loan debt that's been paid off for a number of years. My only debt to my name really is the mortgage, my car payment, and very minimal credit card debt. I've been working really hard to get a lot of my credit card debt paid off. And anything really that's on my credit cards right now that I still need to pay off is mostly gear purchases, to be honest. There's a little things here and there that I've had to put on occasionally, but my credit card debt currently isn't that much. So I'll start this video by talking about what you'll find if you go into Google and type, how much does it cost to hike the Appalachian Trail? What you're gonna find is that the answer to that question will generally be that it costs $1,000 per month that you plan to be on trail to through hike the trail in its entirety. And what that means is that $1,000 it's referring to per month is your like monthly expenses just being on trail and living. So those are things like hotels, hostels, if you go into a town and you stay the night there as opposed to sleeping in the woods. It's going to be things like food resupplies, shuttles or taxis into towns or back and forth from trail to town, or from like the grocery store to your hostel, hotel, whatever. And it's going to be things like gear replacements. So whether that is a piece of gear, you lost it, it's worn down, broken, or you realize that there's something that you need that you didn't initially buy for the trail. So there's gear shops sporadically throughout the trail towns that you come into off of the trail, and you'll maybe see something that's like, oh, that's a great idea, I didn't think of it. Or if you've spoken to someone that you met on trail and they have this one piece of gear that you think is super helpful and might help you in your journey to the end, then you might want to pick it up. So things like that. The most common thing that you do need to replace are your shoes. Your shoes are only good for X number of miles, and the Appalachian Trail is over 2,100 miles long, so one pair of shoes is not going to get you to the end. So you do have to plan ahead and know that there are going to be things that you need to purchase along the way, gear-wise. So that is where that $1,000 a month comes from, is for things like that. I'm planning for personally to be on trail for 6 months. That honestly may very well be an overestimation for me. I'm pretty optimistic I can do it in less than 6 months, but I do want to plan for, just in case I'm slower than I anticipate, I want to plan to be on trail for 6 months. So $6,000 right off the bat is what I sort of started saving for. After that, after you take into account your trail costs, the next thing you want to consider are any bills that you will need to pay for when you're on trail. So this will be a personal decision and definitely different for each person. So some people choose to basically sell everything they own sell a house, get out of a lease, sell their cars, sell all their belongings, or just put them in a storage unit. And some people will choose to do that to sort of not have any costs back home, and that will also help them get some cash in their hands if they sell things. That is not what I'm doing. I do still have a husband and dogs, and they need a roof over their heads. So I'm planning on paying for the mortgage personally. My husband and I sat down and looked at all of our bills, how much everything was, what his monthly take-home pay is, what my monthly take-home pay currently is now, and took into account not having that money coming in. And we decided that I would pay for the mortgage and my car payment. So those are two pretty big bills. The mortgage is obviously the most expensive thing that we pay for on a month-to-month basis. And my car payment isn't cheap. I mean, it's a Subaru, so I do have a pretty decent car payment. And we just made the personal decision, as a married couple, that those were the two bills that I was going to save for in advance so that I could cover those while I'm on trail. So I'm actually saving for 7 months of paying for those bills. Like I said, I only plan to be on the trail for 6 months or less, but I did want to save more money than like the bare minimum, just in case something happens and I don't get a job right away when I'm back into the real world. I wanted to have that extra cushion of money set aside to at least be able to cover the mortgage and my car payment for an extra month. Now, again, remember, this is just how we are personally choosing to do it. Like I said, if you're planning on through hiking the Appalachian Trail, that's a decision that you need to make. Whether you're single, what types of things you want to save for in advance that you don't plan on eliminating from your life while you're on trail. Or if you're in a relationship, definitely talk that out with your partner and decide what works for you. So this is what works for us. We decided his income will be enough to cover the rest of our bills and still give him some extra money to live on, to feed himself, to have fun with, and stuff like that. So $6,000 for 6 months of trail costs, 7 months of a mortgage payment, and 7 months of my car payment. That's what I am personally putting aside in cash in my savings account. Additionally, I am banking on having a payout from work when I quit or do a leave of absence or whatever it is that I end up doing. I do have a decent chunk of time off saved and put aside that I will be getting paid out for, whether that's in the form of a paycheck or a lump sum paid out to me. I'm banking on getting that money as well. So overall, I'm planning on saving about $15,000 of cash and then banking on the rest of what I'll be getting paid out in my paid time off from work. That's a decent chunk of money and probably a lot more than you would anticipate. But again, like I said, this is just what my husband and I, as a partnership, have decided is appropriate for us. There are plenty of people and plenty of other videos that you can probably find on YouTube talking about saving much less than that and putting aside much less than that, and that's totally fine. This is just what is going to work for us and make us feel most comfortable while I'm gone. So that being said, that's the savings aspect of it. The other piece to this is buying gear before you hit the trail. So I am an avid hiker, as you can see with all of these things behind me. This is our gear room that I'm filming this in. We already have quite a bit of hiking and backpacking gear that we already own before I even made the decision to hike the Appalachian Trail. However, all of those items are geared more towards day hiking or only being out for a couple nights max, unless you're fine with being uncomfortable on trail. I wanted to make my experience on the trail as comfortable as possible. Not to mention, a lot of my gear is sort of old that I had for backpacking. So I wanted to buy as much new gear as possible. So of course I made the decision to through hike the Appalachian Trail in September 2020, and I'm hiking February, March 2022. So that was about a year and a half of time that I had to save all that money that I just talked about and also buy new gear. So I've spread out all my purchases. You know, I got the big 3 purchased first, the tent, pack, and sleeping bag. I got those purchased first. But otherwise, I've been spreading out the gear that I plan to buy throughout that whole time frame since September 2020. It's now July 2021. And I actually do have the bulk of my stuff purchased, whether it was purchased by me personally, if it was a Christmas present, if it was a gift from friends or family to help support me in my journey. I do have most of the gear. So what I have left to pay for gear-wise is pretty minimal between now and February. But I am only about halfway saved cash-wise for what I need to save. I should, just based on what I'm saving per month out of every paycheck and how many months I have left till I hit trail, I should have no problem hitting my goal, and I should have no problem completing my gear list within the next couple months. So I hope that helps everyone get an idea of what is involved surrounding like the financials of through hiking the Appalachian Trail. Like I said, this is just how I'm doing it. There are plenty of people who don't spend $1,000 a month on trail because they don't stop in towns, they don't go to hotels, they don't go to hostels. I do plan on staying in hotels and hostels, you know, at least once a week, probably more than that, just to like recharge my body, recharge my electronics, and get more food. So I might be living a little bit more expensive per month than what you can really get by with. They call it platinum blazing. So yeah, that's just what I'm doing. Feel free, if I didn't answer anything that you've been wondering, it's because I didn't think of it. It's not because I don't want to talk about it, or it's taboo or whatever. If there's a question that you have about money for the trail or anything financially related, please feel free. You can DM me directly if you don't want to post it as a comment. Otherwise, just post it in a comment below in this video and I'll do my best to try to answer it for you. It may be something that I hadn't considered. It might be something I don't know the answer to, but feel free to ask. Nothing's off limits. I'm pretty much an open book. So yeah, I hope that helps. And I'm excited to hit the trail. It's coming up quickly. And my next video is probably going to be talking about why I'm through hiking. There's been some interest in that as well. So that'll be my next video. I don't know when. You know, my videos are pretty sporadic right now. As we get closer to me setting out on the trail, I'll do a final gear update and gear breakdown of everything that I'm taking with me. But yeah, anything else that you want to see, of course, always ask me. Comment, like, subscribe, do whatever, and yeah, I'll check back in with you guys, I don't know, in a couple weeks or so. See ya.